Hello there. I'm Jacqueline Hanna, the Assistant Director of Food Co-op Initiative, and thank you for joining me today for the last in our Vision series, Putting Your Vision to Work. This is a deeper dive on the Vision cornerstone of the 4 and 3 development model. So this is our 4th video. Just a little bit about FCI. We have supported the opening of over 130 food co-ops across the nation and are currently providing support and resources for 120 communities nationwide, from Sitka, Alaska to Boston, Massachusetts. We are celebrating our 10th anniversary, and in that time, supporting 130 new food co-ops getting open. So we exist to start food co-op, help support startup food co-ops at every single stage of development. You can call us at any time or email us at info@fci.coop. Sign up for our mailing list and take a look at our extensive free resources at our website. They're on the page for you, and all of our resources are free to you. We're able to make those resources free due to our sponsors. Thank you to the USDA, the Blooming Prairie Foundation, National Cooperative Grocers, NCB, the National Cooperative Bank, Cooperative Foundation, the Cooperative Fund of New England, and dozens of the United States, as well as individual donors. Thank you. You make this work possible. Today's video is Vision, putting your vision to work. It is part of a 4-part series. If you have missed number 1, 2, or 3, they're there on the screen. We first did components of vision, vision process, and using input in your vision to create your vision. These are all available at our website as well as on our YouTube channel. Those are the YouTube channel addresses there, or you can look them up by their titles. So make sure you've watched those first. This last one builds on the first 3. First, before we get started, as I say in all these videos, do you know the 4 and 3 model? The 4 and 3 model is the basis of all of our co-op startup support, and we are focusing on one of the main cornerstones today. If you have not learned about the 4 and 3 model, don't worry, we've got resources for you. Check those out there on the screen, the 4 cornerstones in 3 stages, part 1 by Bill Gessner of CDS Consulting, and part 2. They're both available on our YouTube page, and if you don't want to copy and paste those letters and numbers, just go to YouTube and look up the 4 cornerstones in 3 stages. That is the title, and you will see part 1 and part 2. Those are a great introduction to the model that we're going to then today dive in deeper on. So second, make sure you know what the vision cornerstone is. So we want to get that foundation built before you go into the nitty-gritties with me today of working on vision. So vision is one of our 4 cornerstones. You'll see it there in the upper left, the blue. And we have a video that actually outlines the whole cornerstone, and that's creating vision. That's actually at the CDS Consulting Library and features our Executive Director, Stuart Reed, as well as Bill Gessner of CDS Consulting. And that address is there on the screen. Take a look at that video and learn all about this one of 4 cornerstones called vision before you dive into the nitty-gritty work that we're outlining in this series of 4 videos where we deep dive on the vision cornerstone. All right, we're going to assume you did all that you know what the 4 and 3 model is, and you have an overview understanding of vision as a cornerstone, and you've watched our previous 3 videos. So let's put this vision thing to work. So if you remember from our first video, components of vision, vision is actually made up of mission, what we exist and for who, we exist to do and for who, our core values, how we'll do it, how will we execute on that thing we exist to do and for who. And vision, it's our big idea for delivering that mission and core values. So in our last 2 videos, we had a made-up sample co-op called Center Co-op Market. Now, keep in mind that every single co-op's vision is different and it reflects its community and is specific to its community. And we actually see 8 to 10 core themes that show up in visions of co-ops all over the nation and different combinations of those 8 to 10. So what I'm using here is an example or just some ideas from some communities of what their co-op exists to do. If you read this as we're working through it today and say, that doesn't reflect what I'm hoping to do with my co-op at all, No worries, right? Because remember, the vision, mission, and core values of every co-op are decided by you and your community and are specific to you. But let's read again about Center Co-op Market. Their mission, what they exist to do and for who, is growing a robust local food system that strengthens our local economy in Center County. So who are they going to serve? Center County, by growing a robust local food system that strengthens the local economy. Clear, concise, but big, broad, and ambitious. Core values, they're going to do it by. So again, here's the outline of how they're going to do it. We're going to be diving a little more into their core values and how to put them to work in the next slide. And then vision, their big idea for delivering this mission and core values. We're going to open an 8,000 to 10,000 square foot full retail cooperative grocery store dedicated to our mission and values. So now that we've had a little time to remember our friends at Center Co-op Market, we're going to talk about how are we using this as a tool. They have this great mission. They have core values about how they're going to deliver it. They have a vision, this store that's going to deliver that mission and core values. Great. Now does it all just sit on your website? Not at all. One of its biggest functions is it becomes your filter for every single thing you do as a cooperative. So there's again, this little thing. Now tip, these pieces, the mission, the core values, and vision are so important to what you do as a cooperative and as a board of a cooperative who's been democratically elected to uphold this mission, core values, and vision for your owners. Print it, laminate it. I'm not kidding. I actually know several startup co-op boards that have gone through this work, this really in-depth, meaningful work to create mission, core values, and vision. They print it out on a sheet and they laminate it and they give a copy to every board member. Some just have a copy or two they bring to every board meeting. But it's that important. This is your reference sheet. This is your guide for what you do and why you do it, that you always need to be checking back to. So let's take an example, though, a real life, in the world, being a startup co-op example. What could we do with the mission vision? When does it come up? Does it just sit in my binder now that I've got my laminated copy? Let's take an example. I call this insistent owner number 37. So this is an early owner, someone who really cares about the co-ops and very involved, strong voice, and they say, I feel very strongly we must pay $20 an hour base wage, and we have to commit to that, or we're just exploiting our employees. And I want to know what benefits we'll be guaranteeing, or we're not being a real co-op. Now, this message came in, we're imagining, to a stage 2 development co-op who hasn't picked a location yet, who doesn't have a finalized financial pro forma yet. But clearly, this is a passionate message for an owner. These often throw you off kilter, right? You get these passionate messages from an owner, you think, we have to respond immediately, and they're an owner. We need to make sure we're absolutely meeting what they're hoping for in their goals. Well, let's pause. First, you're right. Owners have a right to be heard and for their perspective to be considered in board decision making. So absolutely read this and listen. But remember, no one owner gets to speak for hundreds of owners. You have hundreds of owners, maybe thousands by the time you open, and the collective owner voice is manifested through the mission, core values, and vision. People became owners because they believed in that mission, core values, and vision. And that mission, core values, and vision was created to reflect the community's input. So that is the collective voice. It's important to listen to individual owners, but we have to filter those individual voices through the collective one that we've been charged to serve. So let's get out your filter. Okay, so in our example, there's our letter from our concerned owner. So you can see the letter I wrote back. Look how, and this is just a start, and this is just the words I picked. You can approach it differently. Remember, if you're a board or steering committee, you're a group body and you speak with one voice. So you're not going to respond individually to this individual owner. You're going to respond as a group. So with one voice, we are going to do it by filtering what they said through our mission, core values, and vision. In this case, mostly core values. So they've talked about one of our core values, actually. One of our core values is offering a strong local jobs where staff has a voice. So one of the other ones, though, that's really important that might be in conflict with the very specific way that this particular owner is demanding that we offer those strong local jobs where staff has a voice, is that we've also promised and made a core value to our owners that we will run a fiscally sustainable cooperative grocery store. Because we've made a commitment to them, we will run in such a way that we will be here for decades to come to serve this community, right? So how do we take this core value that this owner has said, I really want to know that you're going to specifically deliver on this core value in this way when you're early in your development process, and also reflect the core value that it might be in conflict with, that is also a strong part of your owner community voice about what the co-op is. So you filter through, and what I came up with here is one of our core values at City Center Co-op is offering strong local jobs where staff has a voice. We believe this is a powerful reason your 291 fellow owners have become a part of the co-op. We agree with you that staff treatment is a key value of our co-op. One of the other promises we've made as a democratically elected board to all our owners is that we will meet this shared vision by running a financially sustainable cooperative grocery store. We believe there are many ways to bring these two values together, and we'll charge our future GM, once hired, core values, ... And you'll go on to talk a little more about that. But see, I filtered it through. Did what they bring up, is that a core value? Now, sometimes what an owner might bring up is not a core value of the co-op at all. Maybe they're extremely passionate that you're going to have a food education program that goes into schools, and it's a beautiful vision, but it's not reflected in your mission and core values, which you carefully built to be based off of community and or owner input. Then that's a different answer, right? When we talk about what a great vision, and that is something that might fit into this community piece of our overall core values. But at this time, it's not a central focus, because this is the mission and core values we have promised to deliver on to the community. So it becomes your filter, okay? Example number 2, and there are lots of examples out there, I'm sure that we could work through, but something different. We see this a lot in stage 2B, that effective outreach teams that have been doing a good job of growing ownership and getting it out in the community and having events get a lot of invitations to do a lot of events. And so, hey, outreach team, we've been invited this month to do all these following events. We just don't have the energy for all of them, so we need to decide what to say yes to. And there's a list: farmers market, employee health fair, Earth Day, all these things. So your mission, core value, and visions aren't the only deciding factor, but they're once again the first filter. When we look at this list, and your outreach committee is looking at this list of possible engagements and opportunities to go out and be in the community. The filtering comes first, but we also, of course, will use the filter, and then the secondary will be, well, and what are our current goals for reaching new audiences and ownership growth? Because some of these might better suit those goals as well. But first, if they don't make it through the filter as having something really core to your mission and values, maybe that's one of the events you can easily take off the list. So let's look at how that might look. Let's get out our filter. Here we go. So I looked at these cores, and they're a little small here. You can read them. But I looked at these core values, and I said, well, farmers market, which of our, if any, of Center Co-op Market's core values does that really reflect? Well, our farmers market only allows farmers that are local to our state, and so it's very locally focused. We know there's a lot of farmers there that are big supporters of the co-op, and one of our core values is we're going to develop deep relationships with local farmers and producers and prioritize them. So big red thick arrow, yes, this one meets one of our core values. Employee health fair, they made a really thin line with a question mark and said, well, offering strong, could this be part of creating a space where community comes together, enjoys food together? I guess it's kind of, but we're stretching, right? Okay, and then Earth Day gathering at a local school. Definite connection to our environmentally sustainable grocery store goal. Not as deep maybe as the farmers market connection to our core values, but it's definitely there. Do a demo with a local church's local farm festival. Once again, wow, connecting to community, creating community space, supporting local farms seems like a strong win. I gave that a medium line. You might give it an extra thick line. You might say absolutely. And then speak at Rotary. Awesome audience to try and pull into your community, but it isn't necessarily deeply aligned with any of your core values. So you've kind of just in a real quick, maybe 3-5 minute assessment through this filter of your mission and core values, assessed which of these should have the most weight, and then the committee can also consider what are our goals in reaching new audiences and so forth. Maybe we do speak at Rotary because we know we'll get to talk to people we never got to talk to before about our values, but we're going to give it a little less weight if we're not right now looking for big new audiences, or we don't think that audience will be very responsive to our mission and values, then we're going to give more weight to some of these other events. So again, it's just a quick filter, and this process will become quick and easy if you do it all the time. So the other way that vision, mission, and core values stay alive and constantly part of your co-op, not just sitting on a website, is it's part of your messaging all the time. Now, we did a separate video called Messaging 101 for Startups, and it goes really in depth on what is messaging, how do you do it well. I'm going to share with you a couple slides from that video to just reflect on how you see your mission, vision, and core values playing into your messaging all the time. But for a more in-depth look, take a look at our video, Messaging 101 for Startups, and that is on YouTube and our website as well. So remember, if you've watched that one, core messages is something you're always thinking about. And the #1 core message you see over there to the left, you're always trying to express 3 to 4 core messages, and one of them is constantly our mission. It's also called ENDS sometimes in mature co-ops, but in startup co-ops, it's usually called mission. So I've listed there the specific mission of a specific co-op, but see, it's the #1 most important core message when you're deciding what messages you're trying to get out to the community through your social media, through your newsletter, through your tabling events. Another way we're putting to work, so this is an example of how we're putting it to work in our messaging, right? So keeping those mission and core values constantly vibrant and involved. Here are the core values to the left there in our example of Clipper City Co-op. That is a real startup in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. And so I've underlined the key words in their core values: community engagement, local sustainable food, sustainable business, access to healthy food, and food education. So I took a couple of their social media posts that they had done that were very nice, but the text was kind of, hey, we were at this event, and instead said, let's communicate through that constant filter of our mission and core values. So I'll just read one of them to you. Kim found her +1. They were running an ownership growth +1 campaign, every owner trying to get a new owner. Welcome new owners, Mike and Jane Doe. You can help grow our local food system and access to food education, some of their core values, by finding your +1. Everyone who signs up a friend as a new owner this month gets a $10 gift certificate for Row-Rocks Flowers. Local business, and they had said we want to cultivate local business and community engagement, supporting their local co-op. We love it. So every message can be filtered through these core values and mission. And what happens when you do that, when you find ways to sneak in your core values and your mission into everything you say, just a little bit, you don't have to fit all of them in at once, but a little here and there, you constantly reinforce why the co-op exists, why it's exciting, what need it meets for your community, and people get more and more excited and clear on your identity and what you do. And that eventually leads to more owners, more investment, and getting your doors open. So the #1 most important thing you do with this tool that is your mission, values, and vision, speak them. I can't tell you how often I can go to a startup food co-op and say, tell me your mission or your core values, your vision, anything. And I get kind of an uncomfortable mouthful of random words because there isn't alignment and memorization and awareness of what that mission and core values are. Sometimes, often, because they're kind of unfocused and hard to say. But if you've run through our process for mission and core values, they're hopefully clear, direct, and ones you're passionate about, your community's passionate about, they become easy to trip off the tongue. I really encourage you, speak those mission values and core values and vision out loud at the beginning of every board meeting, every committee meeting, and every owner meeting. State them out loud again and reaffirm your commitment to them. It makes a difference. when you're talking to anyone about the co-op, as a key volunteer or board member, which I assume you must be to be watching this video, you want those words to be able to trip off your tongue, to really be easily and clearly able to say why we exist and how we're going to do it. Okay? And tabling. Make sure everyone who tables knows these. Put them up on your table. Have your designer put them into an attractive 8.5 by 11 that you can post on your table. Make sure you're using it as part of training your volunteers so they feel confident saying what the co-op is every single time. And we're going through the same filter of our mission and core values that will lead to a lot more success for our co-ops. So real quick, you don't have to speak them all the same way though. I have had a few groups say, do we have to memorize this? Well, first, if your mission and core values are so long that you're intimidated by memorizing them, like you're really not certain you could, you might want to revisit them and make sure that they're clear and concise enough. But you have to memorize them word for word. I'd say no, absolutely not. Actually, it's more important that you speak them in your own voice, that you're telling a story about why the co-op matters in a way that sounds like you. So we boil all this down over here on the left, the mission, the core values, the vision into, so someone comes up to a table at the farmer's market and says to you, what is this co-op thing? What is it about? Here are a couple ways it could get answered. We're all about strengthening local farms and the local economy here in our community, and we want to do that through opening a full-service grocery store together that's sustainable and puts farmers first. Or we're building a community-owned grocery store where we can come together, offer good jobs, and take good care of our local farmers. It's really all about strengthening our economy in Centre County. These are different ways you could say it, but they both reflect deeply the mission and core values and vision of Centre County Market, okay? Co-op Market. So find your way of saying it. Find your words. Say it at the beginning of every board meeting, every community meeting, every committee meeting, every owner meeting. Get to know these intimately because they are what you do and why you do it. And without that clarity, you're not going fast with your ownership growth or your development as a co-op. So that actually concludes our vision series. That was about putting that vision to work. I hope you've watched the entire series of 4. If you've had any additional questions that come up, I'll tell you in a minute how you can contact me about that. But first, I want to make sure you don't miss our next webinar. We're changing tracks. We've been deep in the 4 and 3 model and the philosophy of how to apply vision. Now we're going to talk about data basics. We've heard a lot from all of you about not being sure what databases to use, how to share information, where to put your owner information. Oh my God, recording owner share price payments, what to do. There's so many different ways and so many different pieces of data. So in today's world, data rules, and there are a myriad of tools and technologies out there that could help you manage it for the ever-growing roles of member owners, capital campaigns, and volunteers. In this webinar, our presenters, Joel Brock and John Purdy of the Tech Support Collective, will help you uncover some of the most popular and effective tools out there right now and offer some tips on selecting the right ones for your needs and employing it with great effect for your startup co-op. So this one's going to be a live webinar, which we're excited about. We hope you'll watch live and send in your questions for Joel and John. It will be Tuesday, December 13th at 1 p.m. Central Time. But as always, if you miss it, we'll be putting it up on YouTube. So thank you for watching today. I'm Jacqueline Hanna with the Food Co-op Initiative. If you have any questions about the materials in this video today, please don't hesitate to contact us. We'd love to hear from you. This is the phone number right there for our Food Co-op Initiative, our main line, as well as my email address, jacqueline@fci.coop. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great week.